Premier League's back. I like international football. I was interested in your discussion there about dark horses for the Euros, but let's be honest, hasn't got the excitement, the passion, the action of the Premier League, has it? And this, without a shadow of doubt, is an absolutely belting fixture tomorrow at lunchtime. The top two, these have been the top two teams really for the last 4 or 5 years, haven't they? So this is really a mouth-watering clash, this.
It really is, and especially if Erling Haaland is fit and available and Liverpool's players coming back from the international break on the form that they're on. It's interesting, we were just talking about the kickoff time earlier on because of everything that Jurgen Klopp has made of it. What's the reaction to the kickoff time in England, though, Geoff? Is it even a big deal? Is it a talking point, or is it just Jurgen Klopp in his press conferences?
I think you're spot on there, Poppy. Let's wait and see what he says about this time. But to be honest with you, I mean, I've had that row with him in a touchline interview, and ultimately the clubs agreed to play at that time. It's a slot that the TV companies are entitled to pick. I understand his viewpoint as well, because the players are coming back. It's the same as he doesn't like that fixture after Champions League in midweek either. I don't think it will detract on the quality of what we see. And to your point as well, Haaland, the word coming out of Manchester is that he is indeed fit. He was pictured in training, so I would expect him to start the game as well.
Geoff, 2 questions. One, do you play the piano?
Occasionally.
Oh, you should give us the news while you're playing the piano next time.
The sultry sounds of Geoff Shreeves.
That would be really fun.
Trust me, that's not something you would want.
All right, the other question is about the South American players, because there's obviously an important contingent of South American players in this match. Julian Alvarez, Alexis McAllister, Darwin Núñez, Luis Diaz, that have very recently made the trip over across the pond. What are the odds that they get significant playing time? Do you think that the managers are going to rotate them and maybe use them off the bench, or can we possibly see most of them starting, for example?
Well, the beauty of this fixture is that both squads have such extensive rosters, if you like. They've got so much talent at their disposal. So it will be a big question for both Klopp and Pep in terms of what the starting 11 is. I think what's not in doubt is the style of both coaches. I don't think they know any other way other than going right at the start in terms of going straight for it. They are both very, very forward-thinking coaches. And I think Jurgen Klopp himself has said, you know, we don't really know any other way other than putting the pedal to the floor. Interesting, you talk about that group of players as well. And I would say leading into this particular game, a lot of focus on Darwin Núñez. He's really found himself after a kind of false start, if you like, to his Premier League. You know, when he got sent off against Crystal Palace, he's really come into his own, I would say, at this stage. A lot of people wrote him off because he's missing simple chances. But it's not just the goals he's scoring, Nico, that's attracting attention. It's his assists, in particular, his assists to Mo Salah. Now, he's not the only one. Jota is also on the same wavelength, and Trent Alexander-Arnold too. But Núñez's overall game is more than just his actual goals. His energy and what he brings into the team, particularly bringing Salah into goal-scoring positions, it really has been underlined in recent matches.
Geoff, I want you to do me a favor. You spent enough time in England, having been born and raised there, and working in the media, that I want you to predict what the headlines will be after this match. With Trent Alexander-Arnold in particular, who I think is absolutely incredible going forward, but there's still conversations about his ability to defend. Whether it's Jeremy Doku or Jack Grealish or Erling Haaland or Julian Alvarez, obviously City will probably pick on that side of the back line. What do you think overall? How do you think this will be handled? Do you think Trent Alexander-Arnold will be just fine, or will he be the topic of the jeering yet again?
Well, to your first part of that question, I think my ability to predict the headlines before the game is about as shaky as my piano playing, so I wouldn't rely on that in any shape or form whatsoever. Again, I think that's what's fantastic about the Premier League. I know I sound like a flag bearer, but it's genuinely true. We just don't know what is going to happen in this fixture. It would be a huge win for Liverpool if they could pick up all 3 points there. You know, we've already got a great title race. You talked about it earlier. You could throw a handkerchief over the top 5 right now. So back to your questions about where the headlines will come from, and I think you mentioned a couple of things there that are really interesting. Will it be Doku Will it be Grealish? Very, very different styles. At the moment, Doku's been featuring far more than Grealish. But the thing with Pep, you never, ever can predict exactly what he's going to do. And also Trent Alexander-Arnold, because he played in midfield for England for both games, will he revert back to his fullback role? Now, that is a really difficult thing to do because playing in centre midfield is one thing for your country. Then going back there and playing there for your club, which he doesn't really tend to do that much, will Jurgen Klopp say, OK, you go back to your fullback position? And then he's got to cope with international class players like Doku or Grealish coming flying at him. So he's got a big, big job on his hands, whoever he's up against and wherever he plays.